You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so all you're doing when you're cabling is you're going to knit the stitches out of order. So right now I have 3, 6, 7, 8 stitches on the needle. So I'm going to, let's just say I'm going to knit the first 2. And then my instructions are going to say something like, get your cable needle and slip 2 stitches onto the cable needle. And so you're just going to slip them, just like as if you're slipping it off point to point. Whoa, you're not going to drop it because you've got springy yarn. Okay, and you've got 2 choices. You can hold these in the front, or you can hold them in the back, and you ignore them. And then the instructions will say knit 2, and you're just going to keep going, doodly doodly do, do 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 do, and then it'll say knit the 2 from the cable needle. So now you have to be like, oh, what cable needle? You have to go find it. You have to look at the stitches, and you have to see that they're in a certain order. They're in the order that you got them on. So you have to be really careful that while it's back there, it's not getting twisted up. Okay, so really you're just putting them on there, putting them back there, and then bringing them back to the front. And from here, you can just knit straight off this needle. Knit 1, knit 2. Then you put your cable needle down, and you keep going until the next time you have to do something special. Now, this particular yarn, you can hardly tell that anything happened. This is why you don't use busy yarn for cabling. But where you've got this plain one, what we just did was we put our yarn behind. We put our cable needle behind, which made a cable that's going to go like this. So we essentially said, oh yeah, we want to knit these stitches, but not right now. So we kept knitting across, we skipped over, then we brought it back. Did we do a back? Did we do a, we did this kind right here. We did this one because we put some stitches behind. We knit the ones from over here, and then we came back to them. And we grabbed them and we just kept going. Now the thing with cabling is that you don't usually do it every single row. You do it, and then you do a few rows plain, and then you do it again, and then you do a couple of rows plain. And then what you're doing is it looks like you're braiding like this, but all you're doing is you're saying, hey, I have some stitches. I'm going to take these 2 stitches, and I'm going to ignore them for a second, and I'm going to knit them later. Or I'm going to put them in front of me, I'm going to knit them, and I'm going to come back to them later. That's all cabling is saying, I'm going to knit the same number of stitches, but out of order. And so all this does, like if you said, oh, I'm going to knit 2, and then I'm going to not knit these ones, you'd have to like hold on to them and keep them from running all the way down. So all this does is it just stays there. It just holds on to your stitches for a couple of seconds while you decide what order you're doing it. All of this twisting and turning is either you're coming to the front or you're coming to the back. So anywhere on your pattern where it says to the front or to the back is crucial. Everything else, you just kind of motoring along. It's just knitting and purling. So this one has a little field behind your knitted stitches, and you can see how, oh, this is bad lighting. You can see how these ones look like knitted stitches, but these ones are purled stitches.
Mm-hmm.
So you're doing a field of purling to make your knitting stitches really pop out. On your pattern, I think they might have you do that in a couple of places, but in a couple other places it's maybe a little bit more subtle. So all that you've done, it's just a trick of the eye. You've got like a knit 2, purl 2 ribbing. You know how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes you're taking those ribs and you're making it look like you're warping them back and forth and weaving with them. But it is absolutely not as hard as it looks, and it's so much bang for the buck.